23 hours.
No, thank you.
And
Thank God my kids never liked Barney.
Oh, Pat liked Barney.
I was scared like Barney.
Did you ever hear We Sing?
No.
It was like
I know.
horrible, and my kids, my grandmother introduced, it basically was stupid adults dressed up singing kid songs.
Are you good?
It was creepy. Creepy.
Call meeting to order, please stand for the pledge. Okay, Nancy? Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would ask that we add an item to the agenda, create a new number 8, and go into executive session regarding the personnel. Any comment? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Let's see, so I'll make public comment 9 and adjournment number 10. We'll move on to public comment. Go on to number 5, which is the 2022-3A abstract correction.
First and second on the agenda.
I moved it, Brent second.
Thank you, I missed that.
So there's a little snafu last at the earlier meeting this month. So the totals were correct. It's just that there were several items. Or 7 items that were included, but they were erroneously left off the total. And those are the 7 items in our B abstract tonight. Excuse me. So the totals that we approved back in March 14th were correct. It's just that it didn't add up, for lack of a better term. So I would ask that there's a motion to correct the
So moved.
abstract.
Second.
Like I said, it was just a clerical error, and they were numbers 131 through 138 were not included, so the total amount was correct. The corresponding numbers assigned to each voucher has been appropriately numbered with the changes. Any other?
So it doesn't change the total at the end.
That is correct for that one, yes. Hello. Any excuse me, any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Gentlemen, we just went by a public comment, and if we were going to we'll have another public comment later because we just went by it. I just thought if you're in a rush.
No.
You're good? Okay. We'll move on to number 6, which is the 2022-3B abstract.
I'll make a motion to approve all claims on vouchers numbered 22-213 to 22-219 on general abstract 2203 in the amount of $60,356.95.
Second.
These were the items that were erroneously, well, they were supposed to be on the last list, but the total amount didn't get added to it. And so that's why we're doing this today, so that we're paying these bills. Any other comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next is the military memorial slash spray park discussion. John Hagreen's here, who actually a former town board member who is very involved in this project. And so each one of you received a document from Labella, which is our town engineers. And you can see that the contracts that we have down here of contract number 1 through 4, and then the various bids that came in on each one. So we are not going to be awarding the bids tonight because there were no bids on contract number 2, and we're still trying to work through that with the engineer and with Mr. Reeves. But I do think it's important that we have a discussion. I wanted the board to be up to date on exactly what is how we got to this point. So in contract number 1, there's the base bid, and then there's an alternate. The alternate is for a metal roof on the pavilion. So that metal roof, the cost of the lowest overall bidder is $57,400. Once again, we don't have to decide this tonight, but I do want to make sure everybody's aware of it. And if you have any comments about that or questions that you want me to take back to the engineer, I'd be more than happy to. As I mentioned, the contract number 2, we did not receive a bid. Contract number 3, which is, and I should say contract number 2 is for HVAC, plumbing, bathrooms, that type of thing. Contract number 1 is the building, the spray park, and the water main. Contract number 3 is the electrical, and that you can see the lowest base bid there. And contract number 4, which is the military memorial, that is basically the military memorial. So there was a alternate, and that is for concrete or granite base. That's the difference there. So I was talking to the representative from Labella today, and they're still sifting through the legalities of this contract number 2. So our goal is hopefully to come up with that before our next meeting on April 11th. And then at that point, Labella would be here and they would be able to give everyone their recommendations for awarding the bids, because they make sure that they're bonded, they make sure they have the proper insurance, they check their references, that type of thing. Anybody have any questions, concerns? John, anything that I missed that you want to jump in on?
I'm just on the military memorial. Neither company that would bid the alternate.
Yeah, I guess according to what Labella said, is that they felt the pricing wouldn't change between granite and concrete.
That answer.
I think, as I'm thinking about that, is granite obviously is higher priced, but the concrete's gonna be much more labor intensive. So I'm not surprised.
Well, I mean,
that it's
we were-
much, but it's nice.
Doug Ward said it was 14 grand a pedestal. They need 4 or 14 grand, for the 3, and then the 4th for the mission. All right, I'm just curious. I lean towards the granite because I want it done right.
Yeah.
The granite's forever, yeah. Granite's forever, but you gotta know what that cost is forever, and
Yeah.
apparently it's $1 less for concrete.
Yeah.
So, I don't see a lot of discussion in that one.
My question is, so the alternative is a metal roof, just a standard shingled roof
Yes,
is what it would.
regular architectural shingles,
And then you have to pay for the upkeep
Right.
down the road.
Yeah, I mean, what are you looking at, 25, 30 years out of shingles?
Architectural shingles, yeah, I'd like to hear from the Labella, but yeah, it's 25 or 30 years, so I mean, what is the replacement on architectural shingles on $22? I can't imagine it's $57,000.
Mhm.
So $57,000 Metal I prefer, if I had a choice, I think metal's the way to go. $57,000, that's a good chunk of change. I think we could find $60,000 elsewhere in the budget to
Use it.
So that's a decision that, the board will have to make. And certainly I don't want to do that tonight because I read nothing.
Well, I think,
I
if
think
if
you're-
Labella could kind of guide us what
Yeah.
the cost would be on re-roofing in $2022.
I think having received the design, I think the design's beautiful. I mean, the memorial itself, it came out very well. Hats off to those involved. I was kind of curious, the geese, what is the material made out of?
It is steel
Steel? Okay.
and it's handmade and hand put together.
So metal
Which is
sculpture.
where
Okay.
there's a lot of labor involved.
Yeah.
But it was chosen not by anyone but Teresa, meeting with Mary Taylor, and she fell in love with it. So I
Yeah.
kind of didn't question that once that was decided, once she said that.
Is it a specific artist that you're having do it, or is it?
Yes, Mary Taylor lives on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't-
She's very well thought of. She did that large eagle at the Brighton Park.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Last fall.
She's done a lot.
Yeah.
Just beautiful work.
And that cost is in addition to this.
That cost is in addition to that, which is why I don't fundraise.
You did dance fundraise? How's that going? You getting a lot of feedback?
Yeah, I can speak to it right now. I think that you're all right with that, Jim.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's been a good, interesting thing to do. Sage Ruddy, Wayne Holly has been phenomenal in supplying the print. You probably all received the package in the mail, so you know what I've been mailing. I'm up to about 400 envelopes, and we've raised over $25,000. And the expectation, based on some fairly larger opportunities coming, is we should get, I'm expecting to get over 50 and hopefully higher. I've got another 100 pieces going out in the next 48 hours. But the L3 Harris Foundation, which is a veterans foundation, because L3 Harris is completely connected with the DoD, mostly Army. They have a foundation for veterans, and the pilot's wife works at L3 Harris.
Oh, that's
Teresa
great.
works at L3 Harris, so we have supplied an application into that foundation. And we're expecting to hear, and there's a couple of other local folks that are quite interested to possibly get more than what might be considered a traditional loan. So it's, personally, I think it's going well.
Thanks for
Yeah.
But thank you for all your. Oh, geez, I'm proud to do it. I will be
Yes, thank you.
attending the April 4th meeting of the Legion here to get an update as to where they stand. I'll update John at that point.
Go ahead.
No, I was just kind of curious, is there going to be a location aside the memorial that will give credit to some of the donors, or?
No, we've chosen, I say we, sort of meeting with Teresa and the foundation, and that question has come up, and there's just a feeling like this is to be a solemn memorial, a spot to educate. When we go to press at the time of the announcement of the dedication, there will be a certain dollar amount chosen. People that have given above that will get some press, but it's not a brick thing. It's
No,
not a,
okay.
Right.
it's not a plaque thing. It's not a, hey, you gave a lot of money, thanks type of thing. It's, and everyone I've told that to have been lockstep. Yep.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, I mean, it's a fair question, but it is a different thing than
Sure.
your more traditional memorials. Well, not memorials, but more traditional, park settings and stuff. Race funds for.
I completely agree with John on this. We've talked about it a couple of times, and I think that the purpose of this is to bring attention to those three service people. And I don't want to detract from that by advertising for a company in so many words. And I think that's important. Jen, the checks made out to post 664
Yeah, that's all in the
packet.
packet, yeah. I was pretty sure.
You know, people appreciate by donating, they can write it off. That's why it's, a decent thing to know. So,
Sure. Does anybody else have any questions or concerns or anything else? Now, I didn't do a budget for this yet, and we did a preliminary budget based on the numbers that Labella gave us. But as you can imagine, like everything else you buy today, everything's gone up. So we're at this point, we're going, once we have some of these blanks filled in, then I will put something together and hopefully I'll have that for you on the April 11th, I guess it's April 11th.
That's right.
Just so that, because I firmly believe if you're gonna award something, we the board all need to know where the funding is coming from. So
Absolutely.
I talked to Jason today and we identified all the various items that are beyond these three prime contracts. So we'll be working on that and then hopefully, we'd be able to award. Just came to me, sir, aren't you from Springer?
I am.
You are. I recognize you from the bid. Oh, okay,
Yeah, so I'm Chris Springer with Springer Construction Group.
okay.
Great.
It just, I recognize your dad, and I'm like, I've seen him somewhere before, and all of a sudden it dawned on me, I saw you in the middle.
Yeah, works with one.
Now that you say you look like each other.
I mean, this is a really public comment, but this is,
We're-
and you haven't been awarded the bid, but still, is there anything that you want to add to the discussion at this point?
Well, I was just, we put a good number in that bid day there and, talking with Labella there, the question is it a budget, is it gonna go? And I'm here today because they weren't really answered and, I just, there's, I guess I'd rather know sooner than later.
Sure.
Just on getting work and scheduling, things of that nature there.
Yeah, because we thought you might have awarded the job today.
Yeah, we had hoped to, if we could have come to some resolution with the number two, but because it's such a,
Oh, that's okay.
we don't really know where that's at.
I kind of was short on time and I was just short on time.
Okay. It just seems to make sense because they're adjacent to each other.
Yeah, it's on bid day, it's a little hectic there.
Yes.
So.
I'm sure you're bidding on other projects as well.
Yeah.
Sure. And am I correct in saying you're out of Ontario, New York?
Yes.
Okay. Have you been there a long time?
About 6 years, grew up in Webster Penfield, lived in the city of Rochester for about 9 years.
Gotcha.
Now out there in Ontario.
Great.
It's, just kind of like here, it's open and quiet.
Yeah, it's a nice
Yeah.
spot.
So you're anticipating maybe making a decision April 11th or something?
Yes,
That's the hope.
we definitely would like to make a decision on April 11th.
Did Reeves, they're not to get into it, they're the contract too, did he discuss anything with you on that?
Yeah, I've been in contact with
Okay.
Al.
Oh,
Alright.
okay,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah, the board hired him at their last meeting because there was some extenuating circumstances here with contract number 2. So he had worked with us on our large library project. So we wanted to make sure that we were doing it right, because otherwise we get,
Yeah.
we run into problems. So we want to make sure we're doing it correctly.
Yep.
Anything else from anybody on the board? John, you're good?
I'm good.
I would just like to add that, John's fundraising efforts have been at his personal expense. And just wanted to show appreciation to his seeing this project.
Yes, thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Who did the renderings, John?
Renderings were done by myself.
Oh,
It was, I mean, what did we have, John, 3 or 4 meetings with Doug and.
Yeah, for the military portion?
yeah.
Yeah, we must have had 3 or 4
And
meetings.
he came back and we adjusted it, switched a couple of things, but. Yeah, he's a nice fella, smart guy, and he really wanted to do it.
Yeah.
That's nice.
He's employed by La Bella for this type of work,
Oh,
for sort of memorials or, something display-ish type thing. Nice guy.
This is gonna be a special place.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, I think that's the goal.
I hope you guys realize
Oh, yes.
how special, I don't know if you know the whole story, but it's really a special place.
Yes, I kind of just talking to some of my vendors there, came across and I did know when I
Yeah.
went at it, it's,
Yeah.
yes.
I think the whole point is that the younger generation that might be playing at that splash pad, someone grab their hand and take them over and show them.
Right,
Yeah,
That's, because kids don't get to see that kind of stuff, and that's worth it.
right. Well, and the children of one of the folks that was lost will be there because they're of that age.
And that was one of the things that we talked about in the, when we were discussing locations is we could have it someplace, maybe in the village or whatever, where people would happen upon it. Or we would have, I don't want to say an attraction, and then they could happen
Destination.
upon, but this is a destination. May not be why they go there, but it's there. And they can learn about it, and as John said, families can learn about it, so.
Yeah.
place for families to get.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to having the other information.
Yes. Yeah, it's been a little, these projects, I mean, not that we do a ton of these kind of projects, but, we had a few bumps in the road with the library too, and that turned out successful, so we'll get through this.
Yeah.
I'll move on to public comment. If anybody has anything, we're gonna go into executive session here in a minute, so, just before anybody leaves, I don't wanna make people wait outside this weather for us for public comment, but if you have anything you wanna add, before we move on to the agenda about anything. John, I got something for you before you go.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks, John, thanks for all your work.
There wasn't one in your bag?
You're turning off the video or audio right now, right?
I know, so
It should have been a separate piece of paper.
unless you stay the version, if I don't have it.
Everybody's. Oh, I'm sorry, Cindy.